everybody. Today I'm interviewing this amazing leader from our community, Érika Cantu. She's an amazing friend and an amazing person in the community, and I can't wait for you guys to hear more about her story and who she is. You and I, Érika,
Okay.
we have like such a great relationship.
I know, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
Because
I know our kids like really love each other, but I feel like you and I were like, it really clicked in right away. And like the person that you are, you're like such a great leader in your community and everything that you do. And honestly, like you inspire me as a woman. Like I'm like, I look up to you. Like you're very, very, very incredible woman and leader. And I just want to share a little bit more about who you are. And I want our community to really know Érika for who she really is. So you're from Brazil.
yes,
And you have two beautiful young boys. And I remember you said like when Lucas was born, you guys went to Belgium.
yeah. Well, Lucas was born in Belgium.
In Belgium, okay.
Yeah. So I left Brazil in 2005.
Okay.
I have finished my studies in international business. Then I knew I have to speak English for sure. Like Spanish was not enough. Portuguese is my mother language.
Yeah.
And I was speaking Spanish at this point. So I moved to US.
Yeah.
And I was there for 2 years.
Okay.
So after that, I moved to Belgium, and Lucas was born in Belgium. And when we got here in Canada, 10 years ago, he was 6 months.
Oh my
He
God.
was just like a little baby. And
It's
he's
like-
11 now.
It feels like it's been so fast, girl. How did it go so fast?
I know,
right?
I know.
So how was it for you to know like, okay, Portuguese is not enough, Spanish is not enough, I need to learn English. What age did you learn English?
I would say 24th. Yeah, 24th years
You
old.
you were 24.
Yeah.
Like that's like,
And I learned French in 27 in 5 months.
oh my God.
Yes, and I need to say that even myself, like in the beginning, I didn't appreciate, and not that I didn't appreciate, I was like, oh, that's okay. But now I'm thinking, that was huge.
Yeah.
Like it's huge to learn a language
That
because
is
it's not
such
the
a huge
language
thing,
itself,
yeah.
it's the whole culture that
Yeah.
comes with.
Yeah.
And that's another thing when people come to say, why do you speak Portuguese? Like with your kids, they're never gonna learn Portuguese. And then I realized it's not the language,
Yeah.
it's the culture that I'm teaching to them. It's an
Yeah.
extension of who am I.
Yeah.
And then when they go to Brazil, they feel they belong. And I'm
Yeah.
really advocating for the sense of belong. I want people feel they are part of something, right? So in that way, the reason why I love so much language. So,
Oh,
yeah,
I
pretty
love
much like that.
Like I really love that because for me, when I came here to Canada, I was just speaking Spanish. So it was like kind of really hard for me and going to a French school and trying to like understand what everybody was saying, the teachers, the kids. Like as a kid it was hard, but then I was a kid and it was like a sponge, right? They always say like a kid is a sponge. And like months after the first semester of going to school, I was like going home and I was speaking Siak, right? Because I was in Sheria, so I was like, oh mom, chilio aqui. And I was like,
I'm like, what's going on?
yeah, and I was totally speaking like Siak, not even French, it was Siak. And I just learned English when I was like in my late teens, right? Because it wasn't something that I kind of was around much, but the TV was in English and people that I knew. And again, Siak and English, or there's like some things that are pretty much similar. And I had a hard time. Oh my God, my kids laugh at me all the time.
Like
I had a hard time saying Christmas.
Christmas? Oh my
And
God.
I was saying...
I have a word as well.
Honestly, I was saying Christmas for the longest time as a teen. And a lot of people would be like, can you say Christmas? I was like, no, because I knew they were just
Don't
like
ask me, don't
trying
make-
to
yeah.
laugh at it because it was
Yeah.
like Christmas. Anyways, but was it like something like
Was
that for you?
exactly
Like,
like
at, like
that.
you know, in your mid 20s,
And
you were
I
learning.
find when you immigrate, let's say older, and when you have a career, because I had a career in Brazil,
Yeah.
right? I started to realize how equal I was, like how how I thought I was like, oh, I have all this stuff. Is why do I need to do that?
Yeah.
Why do I need to? And then I start to understand, like, you're not better than anyone, Érika.
No.
Like, you need to learn if you want to live it. I mean, I didn't want to live there, but if you want to learn the language, you need to, immerse yourself in this whole thing. And if you immersing yourself means doing mimicals, go to the kids' school, like read the book for the kids, and the kids correct you, and you feel like, yeah, thank you. Like, it's so nice, right?
Yeah.
So we have to do that anyways. And I do remember the family I was living at the time, we still have a contact and everything. There was one word I could not pronounce it at all, which was hedgehog. And yes, and then everything started with the hedgehog because it was this word I could not pronounce it at all. And they said, Érika, there's some words like we need to make sure you say properly, because if you don't, like that can cause any kind of troubles or anything.
Yeah.
So every week, or pretty much like every time I was learning something, they are putting the fridge the word, and like that's the word for the week.
Yeah.
And the kids were like my kids' age now, like 11 and 5 years old. So can you imagine myself, 24 years old, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have a diploma, I had a career, and now I'm here with these kids learning how to say hedgehog, and then you start questioning yourself why you do that. And then what's the point when I realized, when I find out my why you're here, Érika, to learn English. Okay, so if you're here to learn English, you're gonna pass through all this process, and that's gonna be okay. So that's one of the stuff is now compare with the when I see the immigrants moving here to Canada, even to grade, like especially for grade of Moncton, I find that they immigrated for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
So, and then that's the questions like why you are moving. You're moving for make money, or like you're moving for a better life. You're moving, so you need to find your why, and then you can see if here's a better place, or maybe Toronto is going to be a better place, maybe Vancouver is going to be a better place. So that was the questions, that kind of kept me moving forward in my learning process. But it was really hard physically, because when you learn another language, you have a lot of headaches, and the pronunciation, you don't have the same pronunciation, and it morally was like you feel kind of a step back. That's what I felt like, learning another language, another culture with like in old age, not old, but like you're not like young, like you're not kid. And then I find was really, for me, was complicated, intimidated, and I questioned my capacity for many times.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Wow. It's kind of hard because sometimes you don't really think about it, right? Example for me, like, it's not that I don't think about it, it's that I forgot how hard it was.
We take for granted now because we know.
Because I was really young, but again, I still have the empathy in my heart, and I'm really that person who kind of understand. Example, like if I call somebody and you can hear that they're having a trouble, like I totally tell them, like, look, it's fine, like take your time, I'm good, like you don't need to worry, especially like even today, like I had a conversation with somebody on the phone and they were like, oh, I'm so sorry, like my English is not good.
That's
this
the phrase
is my sick. And I was like, why would you apologize? Like how amazing it is that somebody has more than one language, right? And I feel like it's kind of special, and I was kind of having like a trouble understanding if and being okay with my kids growing up and mixing the three languages and saying like one word in French, one word in English, one word in Spanish.
I know.
And I was like stressing, and I was like, oh my God.
They're never going to be able to speak properly. They need to like it. But they will. They will.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I feel like it's kind of important to be able to like give a culture to our kids and tell them like where we're from, like I want the kids to understand, like, yes, they're Acadian and they have Irish and they have this, but they still have Dominican in them.
That's the point. Even like the way I express myself, the way I say something. And then sometimes Lucas say, that's really a Latino mama.
Yeah.
So because like don't mess up with a Latino mama. So he knows I can be patient and I'm really into the conversation, everything. Yeah. But the way I gonna look, and he's like, Grandma was looking at the same way, Mom.
Yeah.
So he knows, he can see this like a hidden codes.
Yeah.
That when you are not part of the culture, it's harder to explain. Yeah. So you need to be part to be able to understand. And it was like I wanted them to understand myself, like why Mom is acting like that. Why Mom is doing that stuff is the other moms does not do that.
Yeah.
So because mommy was not born and raised here, so mommy see the stuff is in a different way. And I find another thing as well, when you learn, like I said, it's not the language. Like when I say learn a language, it's basically you learn another culture, right? You are more, I find like you're adaptable. So when someone says something, like you can see 2, 3, 4 ways to accomplish something.
Yeah.
When you're, and I'm not against for anyone who does not speak more than one language.
Yeah.
It's not about that, but thinking about my kids, I want them to be adaptable and they have more empathy. Because the point is, they can have the sense of analyze the situation, say, well, why this person is acting like that? Oh, that's true. Like she cannot speak English or so well, or French or so well. Maybe that's why she's frustrated. So they can see behind of the line, like they can see the body language because they can understand that express themselves is more than just a language, like just like speaking, right? So those are the stuff is for me at least I find is important for like to keep for my kids. But I'm gonna say it's not easy at all. Like I was a moment I would like to give up. Yeah. And I was like, and Lucas was 3 years old. He didn't speak a word, like nothing. And I was like, maybe I should come back, not like finish work, and should stay home. And you kind of questioning yourself, like as a mother, did I take the right decision? Did I not take the right decision? And then comes to another point that I start thinking as well, why I need to take the decision to stay out of my work? Why do I need to give up, my career to keep a language that's, I know it's my culture and everything, but do I really need to do that? Like, do I need? What is the support system that I can have can help me, to maintain my culture? Yeah. And I'm not talking about any financial or any kind of program or anything, but like, do I have a friend who's gonna say, keep it going, like you're doing the right thing, even if they know it's not, but they know that's what I believe and that's what the stuff is I would like to move in for. Yeah. But like a friend to say, to be not lying, but to say, well, don't ask so much for yourself. Yeah. Like you're here
just to understand.
Exactly, because when I got here, we were like 9 Brazilians. Like now we have like 9 families, 9 or 10 families. Now we have like 500 families.
Yeah, and I totally get that part because like it was the same thing you. When I came here to Shediac. Yeah, me and my mother were the only like Black Latino in Shediac around. So everybody knew who I was because it was like kind of like obvious that it was me, right? And in school, I was the only one. Wow. The only one. So it was really hard.
Intimidated, like
all the time. Like I felt like it was kind of hard because I had a lot of bullying because obviously I was different. My hair was different. My skin was different. The way that I expressed myself was different. I had an accent because obviously I was from Dominican, talking Spanish all my life into learning how to speak French. And it was a moment that it was hard for me, but like now I kind of see it as it all happens for a reason and I'm fine now. But then I was for me, example, like I'm that type of mother, like again, it's the same as you. Like I have a lot of Dominican traits in me. Wow. That's what I have right now. If you want or not, you're gonna do. I have a lot of like the Latino side, and even Dave, like my partner Dave, like he said it all the time. Oh, here we go, the Dominican coming out now. Do you find that it's really hard to connect with other mothers because you have that? Culture, or you have that Brazilian Latino inside of you, and do you feel like it's hard to connect with other like mothers in the community?
I do in the sense that like in my culture, like we are much like the way we express love, like is hugging, kisses, food. Like those are the way. And sometimes I find here in Canada, you have your space, like you have your own bubble. Yeah. And in Latin America, you have no bubble. Yeah. Like everybody's in your bubble.
You don't. Everybody is in your bubble. Yeah.
And that's like I find like we need to find the balance, right? So part of me do not have like a lot of that stuff, but another part like missing to have this true connection. Yeah. That's what I find hard because I can meet someone. but it's gonna be sometimes complicated to continue.
Yeah.
I don't know if I intimidate them or like because I don't know, speak so loud, or I'm gonna laugh so loud because I do laugh loud. You know, like even at the WCA, I was there the other day. Like everybody's gonna say, "What happened?" They said, "We knew you were here. We could hear you laughing."
You're from like over there.
Yeah. So, but at the same time, I believe I need to adapt to myself for sure.
Yeah.
But I cannot lose my identity.
No.
I cannot lose my core self. You know, like who am I? So I cannot really lose that. So find this balance sometimes is complicated, but I need to say I have two really close friends, and one time one of them said, in the beginning, she said, it was so funny, Érika, because in the beginning I could not figure it out. I was like, does she try, get something from us? That's why she's being nice and everything. And then I realized, no, that's her. Like she is that way. Like if I call, she's gonna come and ask. So I think that's the point as well. People can feel that's not true.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean like everybody, like someone cannot be that happy.
Yeah.
And I'm not happy all the time, but when I'm outside, when I'm being myself, I prefer, like I wake up thinking, okay, that's a new day. I have to start. And I think it's not going to work in the best way. Like today was another example.
Yeah.
Like today I was like, what am I going to do? Like how this stuff is work. But I was like, no, okay, no, you can do it. Like you're going to do. And then we kind of change the mood. So I think it is more about thoughts and behaviors. Like when you have a good thoughts, like you can change your behaviors. And I think that's the part I feel I don't belong in certain groups because the thoughts are not the same.
Yeah.
So because the thoughts are not the same, my behavior is not gonna be aligned with their behaviors, and then they're gonna feel like, oh, she doesn't belong to here. Yeah. And it's clear don't belong, and that's okay. I'm not gonna belong to all this stuff. Is better. I'm gonna give an example, like hockey. So Lucas was participating in hockey and everything, but I never really felt I was part of the mama group. Now I don't know if because I didn't know much about hockey, or like because they are all involved, they knew already each other and it's fine, or they don't have many, I don't know, immigrants doing hockey. Those are those are the groups I find was a little bit complicated. Instead of soccer, I feel home. Like I'm gonna go in the games. I feel I participating way more.
Yeah.
Because I have this
you
kind
feel
of
like you belong.
Exactly. And then you can see the diversity as well. So you have like different parents, but even the Canadian parents, they are more open. So that's those.
Because you see the diversity that is going, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and no judgments or any stuff, but you can see like if you're moving to a place and you want to integrate it, there's two ways, right? So I find I strongly believe that if I decide to move here, I take the first step.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna invite, I'm gonna introduce myself, but then you need to see that exchange.
Yeah.
So if you do that all the time and you never feel like you're being invited as well, how can you create a relationship with just one?
Yeah, no,
right?
I totally agree with you.
So those are the stuff that I find. I don't know if that explain, but that's pretty much
it makes so much sense because like I totally get it because it was, like you have a lot of people like especially newcomers coming here in New Brunswick and saying like, I don't know how to connect. I don't know how to speak to, this person. And if I ask questions, like, I don't want to offend them.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's kind of important. But at the same time, like, for me personally, I had like a lot of stories when it comes to people asking questions and trying to like connect with you.
Yes.
But they ask the questions in a way that I'm like,
they want to connect with me, or they want to investigate myself.
Exactly.
So you can feel like if they want to really like to know a little bit
There's
more
like
for
two
some
different
reason.
things, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times, like at the beginning, I kind of started to shut down, trying to connect with people.
Yes.
Because they already had, and I always try not to have kind of like a picture of like what the person is before even knowing that person. Like try very, very hard. And if sometimes I try to catch myself and be like, hey, Diani, you don't know their stories.
Yes, you don't know what is behind of this whole.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, when it comes to somebody that looks different and it's visible different, like I remember when I was 19, kind of went on into like, I kind of started to realize that people were seeing my accent because I was speaking Shyak, because obviously I grew up in Shyak, and then I went to high school in St. Louis de Kent. So
Wow,
that's
so totally
literally,
oh my God. Like,
and I went to high school in St. Louis de Kent. So literally, this is like as Shyak can be. And I'm very proud no matter what, but it was kind of hard because a lot of the time people would jump right away and say like, oh, you're from Africa, right? Or you're from Jamaica, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's different type of Black people, right?
exactly. And even for myself, because I speak French, like the first thing they say, oh, are you from Morocco?
Yeah.
And I was like, I never thought.
It's not because I look this way.
And I was like, Morocco, I never thought. Yeah, but we speak French. I was like, oh no, but I'm from Brazil. And then you see the brain like,
they're like, what?
Like, what? What's going on over here?
It's the same thing when I'm like, no, I'm from Dominican Republic. And they're like, oh, they speak Dominican. I'm like, no, we speak Spanish. And they're like, Spanish? And they're like kind of, and again, it's like, I know that it's a curiosity in people, but at the same time, I always have like, let them share with you where they're from.
Yes.
Ask, where are you from? Let them answer. Don't go right away into,
say,
you're from there, right?
It's the same one time, I should remember, was when I was living in US and someone said something, oh, do you speak Spanish? And I was like, yes, do you speak Spanish? But my mother language is Portuguese, because in Brazil we speak Portuguese. No, they speak Spanish. And I was like,
no, they don't.
Excuse me, like, no, they don't. Like, I was born and raised there, and I'm sure they speak Portuguese. So anyway, so those are the stuff is that I find complicated. But another thing that I think is important to mention, and I think we have talked about that in the past, being yourself, like being raw yourself and say, okay, and I'm not talking about social media. We're not gonna post and stuff as at social media, like my kid, I don't know, messed up with me. My kid like was not okay today, or like I caught my kid like got late, whatever it is. But I mean, when you are with other moms, I miss this point of we are not fighting against each other. Like I'm missing the point to say this point of people say the mothers to be raw and say, gosh, I find I'm failing with my kid.
Yeah.
Like, and I say, for example, my second kid, when he was born, when he was like an aha moment, I just find out how much I have no boundaries at all with everything. And with him, I learned to put some boundaries.
Okay.
And it was hard for me because when you usually say yes for everything, when you start saying no, then there is another consequence or another clean it up. And then you start to see, okay, now I know who is my friend or not.
Yeah.
So that's one point. Another point it is, okay, now I say no, what am I gonna do next?
Yeah.
Right? So gonna keep that stuff is or not. And that I was a struggle with this new me. And but I didn't find like anyone, and I'm not telling like I'm calling the friends and say, oh my gosh, life is so hard and everything, but have this real conversation, say, I'm struggling, you know, like I have a hard time, I don't know what to do with my kid. Or I'm at work, I'm in this crisis now that I want a career, I want to do that, but at the same time, you know, being confused. I think like we are so much in this warrior, like we can do everything.
And we feel like we need to have everything figured out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So I even see this morning a post, a friend of mine put something like, so someone like a kind of Princess Catherine, you know, like drop the kids at school. She said, other moms drop the kids at school. Me drop the kids at school, all messed up.
Oh yeah, that's me.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
My
and
hair
like, I hope they don't ask me to leave the car, right? Or if I have,
like sweatpants and like a big hoodie. That's literally me. And I'm like looking in the mirror, making sure my hair doesn't look a mess.
Like sunglasses, you know, like you're doing all this stuff.
It's not me.
Yeah, so why we cannot do that? And I'm not telling like, and that's the point I learning. If I don't want to make up or if I don't want to do something, I don't want to do for myself, but not because others need to see me like that. So that true self, or say like, yes, you, someone say, oh, I have a 20 years career and everything, and you like I'm in my 40s, and I can say, I shouldn't figure it out what I want to do. Yeah. You'll be okay, right? So, but it's not okay. If now in my 40s I say, I don't know what to do, I need to review, they say, what? Like, no. So yeah, but it
You
is
have
fine.
time.
Exactly. So those like, and I'm sure as a mother and even as a woman or like a professional, we struggle pretty much with the same thing, but we don't share.
I think
And that's what I'm missing.
I think that's really important because like like I had a lot of friends and even the families and people that I know in Dominican, we share a lot. And they feel like because I'm here, then I have no problems.
Yeah, everything is
right?
perfect.
Everything is perfect. Everything is good. And I'm like, no.
You don't know anything.
But I think we have this, we were programmed this way of like when somebody says, hey, how are you? Oh, everything is good.
Yeah.
And then I try to catch myself all the time. And even when we talk to each other, I'm like, if it's good, I tell you. If it's not, I'm like, no, actually, this is not a good day. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. The kids, like the kids are like all over. And it's fine. And again, I think that's really important for different women with different backgrounds, different countries, you know what I mean, diverse. It's good to have that community of women together and communicating that it doesn't matter where you're from. Sorry, but when you have a family, it's hard.
Yeah, and there's two things I find like you start create through relationships.
Yeah.
When you're yourself, you start create this, and it doesn't mean you're gonna connect with everybody, and that's okay. And the second point, the other person can start kind of, you can be accountable and start thinking, hey, Diani, have you thinking about it that like the last 2 weeks you're not feeling okay?
Yeah.
Like maybe you should look for a doctor. And then because if you don't say something, and then we get to this point like we have burnouts. Like why do we have a burnouts? Maybe you have all these red flags before, but because we don't have someone that we could be truly yourself. Then you never
you try
should.
to hide it and put it aside.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway,
I agree. Thank you so much for sitting down with me and having a glass of wine. I love wine. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening, and stay tuned for the next leader that we're gonna have at Real with Diani Blanco. Thank you.